Every investment problem, every money worry, every stress or angst or overwhelm, it all starts with the same thing, right? It doesn't matter your age or your income or your employment status or your IQ. Every single investment problem starts at the exact same spot. And every single investment problem moves to the exact next spot. And there is a set rhythm of how this works. And it, again, you can't break the order. It's always the same order. And this is going on whether you believe it or not. Hey guys, my name is RC Peck, and I want to show you something that I've been using for about 2 decades. And it's about investing without fear or angst or worry or overwhelm. And I call it the IEA Method. And it transforms people's lives, not just their investments, their performance, but also how they sleep, also how they are able to act and behave and live through the world. But before we get to that, I want to share a story with you. And it's a story about this guy. Now, this guy's name is Ignacio Vice, and he was a physician in the 1840s and 1850s. And he was noticing that women who gave birth in hospitals were 10 times more likely in some hospitals to die along with their newborn than if they were to give birth at home. I mean, it's a staggering number. And being a physician himself and being curious, he wanted to figure out what was happening. And so he discovered something. And like all discoveries, it wasn't really good news to the establishment. And a lot of people lauded him and made fun of him because the solution seemed too easy. And I bring up Ignacio's story because over the last 2 decades, sometimes when I share the discovery of IEA, it gets lauded. It's like, no, that's too simple. That's too simple. But what Ignacio discovered was that germs in hospitals, or germs themselves, were killing the moms and the newborns. And even though doctors couldn't see them, he's like, germs are killing women. And he shared this with his peers, and he said there's a simple solution, and the solution is to wash your hands. Now, that didn't go over too well, right? I mean, wash your hands is a really simple idea, right? It's only 3 steps, right? You soap up your hands, you rinse off the soap, right? And then you dry your hands with a clean towel. Very, very, very simple. But this discovery of germs and the solution, the simple solution, it changed healthcare forever. And so I want to move our attention to investing, but using kind of the simplicity and the order of wash your hands. You see, people have been taught to worry, right? People have been taught to fear a 50% drop in the market. People have been taught to have sleepless nights. And something interesting happens for almost everyone over the age of 50. They recognize that their earnings runway or their career is going to end one day. And even if they like it or not, there's a worry in the background. How am I going to transfer the stability and the income and the growth of my career over to my saved, accumulated money? And they've been in the markets long enough to know that those pick-of-the-month newsletters just create hype, fear, and overwhelm. And they've been through enough corrections with their big box advisor, even if they like and trust them, that they know something's off with that well-diversified, well-rebalanced portfolio that seems to take all the big hits. And so they're really questioning, I've got to figure this out. I've got to figure this out. I can't redo this again. I can't have another career again, because their money matters and their stability matters. And so what people don't realize is we've been taught to be scared. We've been taught to be overwhelmed. We've been taught to lose sleep. We've been taught to believe we never know whether we're going to have enough, right? We've been taught to give up control. We've been taught to be confused. We've been taught these things, right? We've been taught you have to take the big losses, but you don't have to, right? We've been taught investing so complicated of a question, the answer has to be complicated. But the answer is it can be a wash your hands answer or solution, right? We've been taught diversification is the absolute answer. But the truth is we're all over diversified today in a way where when the market falls 40, 50, 60%, it doesn't matter, right? We've been taught to give up our control, but that's costing us better sleep, a better life, right? We've been taught information. But the problem is, it's not information, it's knowing how to sort it. Every single investment problem, every single one, every single money problem, every single wealth care problem starts with one thing. It starts at the same place. It starts with information. It starts with information hitting your brain somehow. And because we've never been trained to sort information, we don't know what to do with that information, right? I mean, think about this. The information can be a PE ratio, an economic report, something you heard in your head, your advisor's comment, a blog, a headline, a newspaper article, a tweet, a comment, an advertisement, a Facebook post. It doesn't matter. But every single piece of information that hits your brain, if not sorted properly between hype, fear, and worry, and is this significant, creates a problem for you. And it's not going away until someone is trained how to sort that information. And that's why the process starts where it does. Everything starts with the information that you get and you not being trained on how to sort the fear and the hype and the worry and the BS from what is actually significant, right? We are always reachable today, always, which means the arguments and the updates and the fear is never far away. I mean, information is bombarding our attention. It's one crisis after another crisis, right? All we have today is a crisis. But now the crisis, it's in our pockets, and our cars, and our houses, and our bathrooms, and our bedrooms, right? It's anywhere there's a device, there's a crisis where half your money is going to be lost. We're literally living in crisis after crisis. And because no one's ever trained you how to sort and filter all that information, we live in a world now of fear of losing our money, fear of investing, fear of being wrong, fear of being right. And guys, this supersedes IQs or income or the economic stage you are in life. Every single money problem, every single investment problem starts with not being able to sort information. Even your own information, even your own blind biases or transparent beliefs or things that you already believe to be true unconsciously. There has to be a way that you can even sort your own information, right? Because if you believe gold is going to $10,000, the world is going to align behind you today, so you only see things that also believe that gold is going to $10,000. Or if you believe the stock market's going to get cut in half every single day, you'll end up only watching screens that believes that too. But when you get trained in how to sort it, literally your life changes. Your money grows. The performance is something you remark about to people. And it happens almost without effort, kind of like wash your hands. Now, when information doesn't get sorted properly, or even if it does get sorted properly, as soon as information hits your brain, you immediately go to something called your emotion. We immediately move into our emotion. Now, you can call it your psychology, your behavior, your feelings, it's your mindset, but this is such a critical part that no one has trained you how what I call placing your emotion. And just because the emotion is happening inside your body doesn't actually mean it's yours. Someone could have put it there with information that you were given. But what happens is your emotions then almost get out of control, right? Because you get the information and it's one scary feeling, right? You're scared, you're worried. And just a click away is a crypto newsletter or a pot newsletter or a small cap international growth newsletter or a option trading course or a swing trading course. They plant the fear in your brain. That's the information. It triggers the fear. And then they're like, lo and behold, a weekend option trading course for $20,000. And so people are living in a reactive world. They are reacting. And some who realize it, they just check out. But that's also a reaction. Not opening your 401k statement for 3 years is a reaction. And so what we do is we know that the emotion can only be placed in one of 3 areas. And so when you're trained to place and identify the emotion, it no longer confuses you, but it no longer controls you. Because if you get a piece of information that's unsorted, it moves quickly into a reactive behavior, which quickly moves into action that hurts you, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's tariffs or trade wars or Trump, but if you get that information and you react to it behaviorally, and then you pull your money from the market and you put it into cash, or you pull half of your money and you put it into cash because of some piece of some piece of information that reacted. Now what? Now that's an action you can't come back from, right? How do you, if you have $1 million and you put 500,000 in cash and then the market goes up for another 2 years, how does that 500 get back in? And the answer is it doesn't. That's an action that you can't come back from. But there's a way where you can take action that even if you're wrong, you can't get hurt. And think of it more like kids learning to walk, right? They learn to walk by taking action. They don't get hurt. But maybe even more appropriate is if you have to get somewhere on the highway and you get off on exit 165. And as soon as you get off, you're like, wait, no, it's actually 166. You don't pull over and stay at exit 165 for 7 years. You pick up the phone, you call your friends, say, hey, I'm going to be 10 minutes late, got off at the wrong exit. I'll see you when I do. It doesn't ruin your life. But we've never been trained how to take action without getting hurt. What I'm telling you is when you follow this unbreakable process, fear disappears. It literally eliminates from your investment life, from your money life, because the level of clarity and certainty and stability you have. And the reason it's unbreakable is because every problem starts with an unsorted I that immediately moves to an emotion. That if you're not understanding what's going on, it's going to be a reactive behavior that leads to an action that you can't come back from, or that's very difficult to come back from. But the good news is this is trainable. Just like every kid walking is trainable, but it's actually much faster than walking. You can train the brain very quickly to almost automatically and naturally sort information, place the emotion, and take appropriate action where even if you're wrong, you don't get hurt. And let me say it even differently. Even if you're right, you don't get hurt. So I want to be clear about a couple things. I've been training people's brains and money to get it right for 2 decades. So what I offer people, or what people buy from me or invest, is training. This is not about annuities or life insurance products or another newsletter or research or another story about the next Facebook of China or the next crypto or the next pot stock. This is not about money management services. This is not about trading options or day trading or swing trading or any sort of trading or timing. And in many ways, it's not even about you. It's about your money. It's about getting control back over your future. It's about the second half of your life or the last third of your life to be the best part of it. Will you get control back over your finances and investing? Will you have the certainty and the stability that you felt with your career? Where you know you're going to have enough. And you know it because it's verifiable, because you can see it, you can feel it, you know it to be true. So I want to talk about who this training is for, because it only works for a certain type of person. So the training is for people over the age of 50 who have at least $500,000 in the market, and they're determined, right? They really want to fix or work out this part of their life. Like it's something they have to do. Now, why 50 or older? Because when you turn 50, whether you're 50, 55, 60, or even in your early 60s, you know your earnings runway is going away. You know, because you've been in the market long enough, that your big box advisor approach of just taking the big hits with that well-diversified, balanced, blended portfolio ain't going to cut it anymore, because there's huge holes in it. You might not know how to fix it yet. You might not know how to do it better, but you know it can be done much better. And if you're 40 or 30, your brain's more on building your career. But when you're in your 50s, you've already got the career and it's really working. And you realize, I have to replace, or I want the stability from the career. I want that stability in my investments, in my saved money, in my accumulated wealth. Now, why $500,000 or more? And typically someone who comes into the training has anywhere between $500,000 to $2.5 million. And the reason $500,000 is important is because that means that person's done enough things the right way, right? They've saved, right? They've accumulated. And they know that their million getting cut to 500 or getting cut to 600,000 is not okay anymore. It is a real number. It is a serious number. The other reason, one of the first things we do in our training is I train my clients to find what I call the leaks. These are not leaks like the fee to Merrill Lynch or Raymond James or Edward Jones. These are leaks from what you've been taught. And the average leak I find in a $500,000 portfolio is a little over $41,000. I've never in 2 plus decades of training people's brains and money, not found a leak of $40,000 or more. So right away when you come in, and this is why you have to be determined, because there might be some bad news. You might be like, wow, I feel so mad or sad that this has happened, but it doesn't have to continue to happen. And once you plug this leak, and guys, if you have a $2 million portfolio, what I'm saying is there's about a $162,000 leak in a $2 million portfolio, an $82,000 leak in a $1 million portfolio. And that's just the leaks. And so we plug those almost immediately in the 8-week training. Because if you're not determined, it also means you're not coachable. And it's really important to be coachable and trainable, just like that little boy on the previous slide who wants to be able to hit that ball. So that's what this training is. Now let me talk about the next steps, because the next steps are a little unusual. So the first next step is you actually apply. You fill out a 1 or 2 minute application, and then you schedule to get on my calendar. This is my time now. So I want you to be fair to both my time and your time. I'll tell you something interesting. When someone has 1 million or 2 million or 3 million or 5 million at risk in the market, they respect other people's times. They respect their own time. They show up on time. Someone who has $45,000 in the market, who's 55 years old, they're late for the call. They don't respect the time. And so when we do speak, I ask that you be on time and you are fair to both of us. I'll do the same thing. Now, in that call, I want to see if we're a fit, and you want to see if we're a fit. When I started training people 2 decades ago, the only way I did it was one-on-one. Now, this is a group training. And when I worked with people one-on-one, the price of that work was $25,000. They wrote a check, they gave me it, and I worked with them one-on-one, and their lives were changed. Their marriages were transformed. They eliminated all stress, all worry, all angst, all overwhelm from the life in regards to their investing and their money. And if you think about it, in today's dollars, people spend $200 or $300 or $400 just on their education, which, by the way, doesn't even train you, just gets you ready to get trained. And so if we find that it's a fit, then we have a pre-call and we get you set up. And then the way you commit is that you actually show up to the call. Now, there's 3 parts to this training. There's only 3 ingredients. One of the ingredients is I got to get you my intellectual property that I've acquired over the last 3 decades. I have to get that to you. Now, the good news is I'm dyslexic. And what that means is I'm going to train your brain in a visual mode. And our brains are designed to see patterns. Even if you're not dyslexic, and about 85 to 90% of the population is not dyslexic, but even if you're not, the brain still gets trained very quickly visually. So I've learned over the last 2 decades how to retrain brains to follow the IEA method, so it just becomes their natural way. So we do that through videos, online videos. The second ingredient is your homework. You have homework, but it's homework for your life and your portfolio and your investments and your wants and your desires and your needs. Everybody has their own homework. And the third is we have a weekly training call where you get individual coaching in a group setting. And this is incredibly powerful because when you hear and see and watch me train other people's brains, your brain's like, oh my gosh, I had that question too. I didn't even know it. But when he said that or when she said that, it was really clear that was a problem I had that I didn't even know. And then when we get to your own nuances and worries and needs and insights, it becomes even more powerful. And that's really where the magic happens, that training. So it's a 3-step process. Now, the $25,000 training course is what it was when I worked one-on-one. Now, I don't have the time anymore to work one-on-one. I'm a single dad. I have 2 amazing kids. I live in the Seattle area. Interesting fact about me, when I got a divorce, when my now ex-wife and I got a divorce, we had what we call a $1,500 divorce, right? We hired a mediator for $1,500 to make sure that our paperwork was done properly. Now, I'm telling you that for a reason. When you're married to someone for 15 years and the marriage doesn't work out and that you can have a very, what we can even call happy divorce, that probably means you were pretty clean and adult-like about your money. So this $25,000 training can absolutely save people's lives. Now, because it's in a group training, I'm able to lower the price. And I know that when someone with $1 million portfolio comes in, or even a $500,000 portfolio, and I can show them how to eliminate $40,000 of annual leaks and losses, and then show them how to grow their money. I mean, really grow it. Not with hype, but with incredible consistency. I know that's a life-changing experience for them. The investment in the course is $9,500. And when we get on the call, we're going to talk about what that training is and what it isn't. But one thing I can tell you, in all my exit interviews that I do with my training clients, I ask them about the price, that $9,500. And they all say at the end, that's 8 weeks, they all look back, they look over their left shoulder, and they remark about what an amazing deep value type investment that was for them. And so these are the steps you apply. You get on my schedule, we speak, we see if it's a fit. And we talk about what starting looks like. I want to know the main thing you want from the training. This is unusual. I ask you, what do you absolutely need to get from the training? So if that's all you got, it would be worth multiples of $9,500. And I don't say yes until I know that I can commit to making sure you get that. And at the end of the 8 weeks, we have a one-on-one phone call where I ask you, did you get that one thing? And if the answer is no, I extend the training. The only passing grade is an A. But I need your commitment to show up and actually do the work. So the way you can apply is there's probably a button somewhere on the screen, or you can go to fearlesswealth.com, apply, and you can apply right there. It is group training. Space actually is limited. And so the next step for someone who has $500,000 or more, who's over 50, and who really wants to figure it out, is to go ahead and apply. We'll get on the phone, we'll talk, and we'll see where it's a fit for you. Thanks, guys, for listening. This is RC Peck, and I appreciate your time, and I hope we work together if you see and notice parts of what you want in this. Okay, take care.